What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 18. Top DFS picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for this week's NFL slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NFL Week 18. Let's take a look at the quarterback position. So my top DFS pick at the quarterback position is Deshaun Watson from the Cleveland Browns, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson scored 22 fantasy points last game. He got 8 rush attempts in that game. He's only going to be he's only going to be $5,600 DraftKings salary, $1,200 more on FanDuel. He's projected at 15.6 fantasy points here this week, but I think he can score 18 fantasy points or more in this one. Vegas thinks there's going to be 38.5 points scored in this game, with the Browns trailing by 3. So Deshaun Watson has started the last 3 games. He scored 22, 13, and 13 fantasy points in the last 3 games he got 8, 3, and 6 rush attempts in those games. So I like to see that he got 8 rush attempts last game, put up 22 fantasy points. I think he can put up 20 plus fantasy points again this week, and you can get him while his salary is low. Well, it's the last week of the season, so for only $5,600 DraftKings salary on a guy who's got 20 plus fantasy point upside, I like Deshaun Watson here versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. My top DFS pick at the running back position. This is a team still fighting for the playoffs. I like Najee Harris from the Pittsburgh Steelers, playing the Cleveland Browns, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Najee Harris has averaged 13.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 15.6 rush attempts per game and 3.3 pass targets per game. He's projected at 12.2 fantasy points here in Week 18, and he's $6,100 DraftKings salary, $1,100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 38.5 points scored in this game, with the Steelers favored by 3. So Najee Harris has scored 23, 16, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He got 22, 16, and 24 rush attempts in those games, on top of 3, 9, and 0 pass targets. So well over 20 touches a game for the last 3 games. Monster volume. His production has been ramping up. He's got a fantastic matchup. Still in the hunt for the playoffs. So I like Najee Harris here versus the Cleveland Browns.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. My top DFS pick at the wide receiver position I'm going to stack this guy on right with Deshaun Watson. Both of these guys pretty low salary with some monster upside. So I like Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Amari Cooper has averaged 15.9 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 8.1 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 83% of the snaps, projected at 13.5 fantasy points here this week. He's $6,000 DraftKings salary, $1,600 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 38.5 points scored in this game, with the Browns trailing by 3. And Amari Cooper has scored 29, 13, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He got 4, 10, and 6 pass targets in those games. So I like Amari Cooper here versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the tight end position. My top DFS pick at the tight end position is TJ Hawkinson from the Minnesota Vikings, playing the Chicago Bears, who have the 7th worst defense overall. And although they've been pretty good versus opposing tight ends, TJ Hawkinson has averaged 13.7 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 8 pass targets per game, been on the field for 87% of the snaps, projected at 12.1 fantasy points here in week 18. He's $5,700 DraftKings salary, $1,500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, with the Vikings favored by 3.5. So TJ Hawkinson has scored 13, 39, and 8 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 12, 16, and 9 pass targets. So I've said this about TJ Hawkinson for the past 3 weeks. Although the Minnesota Vikings have their playoff seed locked up, remember, the Vikings acquired TJ Hawkinson midway through the season, so they're going to want him out there running routes, learning the offense, and you can see his pass targets over the last 3 weeks, over his season average, 28 pass targets in the last 2 weeks. So I do expect for him to get a decent amount of volume here in the final week of the regular season. So I like TJ Hawkinson here versus the Chicago Bears.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.